Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first release working group meeting of 2024. And we are here today to talk about, we have a small agenda, talk about the release working group items. We have some planning to do on the releases. Before that, before getting to that, let me open the floor here. Do anyone has any announcements, anything they want to mention before we start?
I have the Node.js 21 release was supposed to be released on last Thursday. However, the release got blocked because it was failing on a specific platform, but we Richard marked the test as flaky because it was a mistake in the past. And now the proposal is building, and I'm targeting to next Monday because we don't release things on Friday because we know that it will break for sure. And that's it.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's good. Okay. So yeah, we kind of
Richard
we don't
just
have the
joined.
issue. Oh, awesome. Let me promote Richard here. And let me copy and paste the minutes document. Hi, Richard. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I was just saying like we're copy and pasting the minutes document here because we're missing that common issue we have in the repo today. So there we can start taking notes there, and we probably want to tweak here the agenda if there are any items we are missing from just looking at the labels. I'm kind of being guided from yeah, this is the GitHub issues list with the filtering for the release agenda label. So do you all want to start with the release plans? Then we can talk about the pending items we had there.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, let me tweak the agenda here so that we have that first in the minutes. Okay. And let me share my screen. Okay, this is my screen with the issues on it, hopefully.
Um, Sorry to the okay, yeah. 21 I just mentioned the target will be next Monday. Possibly I will get the next releases of the 21 or the current because I'm planning to onboard Marco on the release process before nominating and so on. Do it to the recent change. Like Marco is working on an automation of secret release, so he needs to know how a release works in order to automate it. So I'm planning to get all the next 21 release and explain to Marco how it works, and then we can automate it together.
Right. So kind of a follow up later in January.
Yeah,
And
possibly. Um, I will target another one in January 29
mhm,
because we have something on the QE,
right.
and then we moving on.
Is it going to be you and Marco?
No, just me. Marco is
Okay.
not a releaser yet. He was not
Right.
nominated yet, but I'm planning to show him how it works before
Okay.
nominating.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So this looks reasonable to you.
Okay.
And yeah, let me leave. Should probably drop a placeholder here too for February.
Yeah.
But that we don't. That is you're also
Target
planning to do a
11.
follow up.
Yeah, 11 should be good. I would take it as well.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, actually, well, I think yeah, this is good until the next meeting, so it should be okay for now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then let's take a look at the 20.
Yeah, I believe that 20 we have a problem because we are not releasing often, and I think that the list of changes is long now, right? Like I remember you was doing the 20 release, right, Rui?
No, was that?
I
No, I
remember
don't think it was 20. I
you
think that
have the
was 18.
oh, okay, sorry. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
fine.
so
Yeah.
Ulysses has just done 20.11.0, which came out
Yesterday, yeah.
yesterday. Yesterday slash day
Oh,
before.
okay.
um, so
Okay.
so that's just gone out.
Mhm.
We have had people asking about getting libuv backported to Node 20 because of some issue in Windows. So yeah, I mean, it didn't make that release, but I mean that release was started just before Christmas. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in there. So I don't know what the delta is now between that and the current that has just gone out.
Right. So that's say like 21 here has a bandwidth to potentially work on 20 for the month of February for next release. Yeah, we probably don't want to wait too long, right? Like so that the backlog of commits don't pile that much. Yeah, otherwise I think we should probably also just do a call to action in the channel to look for releasers and yeah, and I'll also leave one for Mark here, just a placeholder.
Yeah, at some point, I believe that we will just promote releases and all the proposal will be created by the automation. Uh, so I believe that we won't have like we won't need to get a call to action because it will be ways or just take an hour or two and promote it. Um,
Oh, that's an interesting conversation. I don't want it to derail here, especially
okay.
from the planning, but the difficult part is like I know you and I would talk about like the automation, right? Like, and
Uh-huh.
I was mentioning I got some scripts, but like the important part is the human review, right? Like the human
Oh yeah.
validation of
I meant like the proposal needs to be reviewed, right? Like
right.
so the releaser will need to review the proposal plus promote. But I believe all the uh, uh one of the problems when creating a proposal is fixing conflicts, requesting,
Yeah,
creating the
yeah,
labels, adding labels to the pull request. And I believe that can be done by the automation. The only
true.
downside is that sometimes we as a releaser, we can fix conflict and don't require and no need to add the label. But if we
Yeah,
automate, the label will
yeah,
be automatically and even a line
yeah,
of conflict will request change. So
yeah,
we can test, but it might cause some maintenance burden for the pull requests, for the ones
yeah,
that request.
yeah. No, okay, okay. Let's just make sure. I want to show it to you and maybe Marco. Like it could be nice to but because I have it all scripted already, that like it becomes kind of like just a for me as a releaser becomes kind of yes or no, like it goes, or do I do I just have automation to kind of send a label and comment to the PR, right? Like and skip that comment, right? Like so, I kind of had script all that for the last time I worked on 18, and maybe there's some stuff you want to reuse at least as a reference. I don't know, like some ideas from what I did
Yeah, that
there.
would be great.
Okay. Yeah. So let's make sure we follow up on that when you start working on it. So let's go back here. And I know 18, it's maintenance
It
mode,
is now
right?
maintenance. We don't have release plan,
Yeah.
only if you have a secret release.
I saw someone asking for something somewhere. I think
Yeah,
our
there was a PR that had a fix that someone wants backported to 18. I'm not against it, but again, yeah, we don't actually have anything scheduled in terms of release.
Yeah,
right.
I think it was Joy, right? Like, and we said like if any releaser wants to make that release, that's fine, but we don't have anything planned.
Maybe, yeah, maybe if there's a fix that someone is asking for specifically, like maybe we can point down like to how the backport PR, right? Like so that maybe we can land that, and whenever someone is planning to do an 18 release, right? Like if 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 it is a security release, maybe that can just land with that, or no, or not a
Yeah,
good idea.
we normally don't include other pull requests in a security
Right,
release. We
right,
can
right.
think about like an exception if that's the case.
Mhm.
If that's like a bug that would be
Mm.
great to solve and no conflicts. I think
We
Mhm.
we would have to include. I think we there was a change to update how we sign Windows releases. So again, that would. I mean, but I guess you could almost stretch and
With
call
what?
that security thing. But yeah, I mean that hasn't gone out in 18 because we haven't had an 18 release
okay.
since. So yeah, there are small things that are necessary to get built out, um, but also
Yeah.
yeah, other things which like the thing that Joy wants and the I think there was another thing to do with the order of something to do with certificates. Um, that yeah, those are possible candidates. But yeah.
Yeah, we could include that plus the pull request unless the Joy pull request would need backporting other commits because of conflicts. I think that should be good.
Yeah, I can't remember. Was it? I don't know. I probably shouldn't
Yeah,
filter
I
it.
don't
I
remember.
can't remember if it was already like an open backport or whether it was a comment in an existing PR that we don't know yet whether it requires a backport or uh, yeah. I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay.
Okay, I guess the actual call to action here is try to kind of gather
Great.
all these into backport PRs and like eventually build up enough that we want to promote a release, right?
Uh, the, I think the thing is, if a releaser wants to do a 18 release, that's fine. Uh, or like the request is or Node.js 18 contains a really bad bug that people were facing frequently and we need to hotfix. And but I don't think that we need to have a call to action if we have a secret release, upcoming secret release, so we can include both patches and it will be signed by the same releaser, right? Sorry,
Right, but
I
you,
think I
you,
didn't
you just
explain
mentioned the
correctly.
beginning. Yeah, you just mentioned the beginning that like we don't want to include no security like
No, no,
related
I
commits in
meant
the.
that I meant that we can include
Okay.
unless that pull request requires backporting other pull requests because of
Oh,
conflict.
right,
Because
right.
sometimes, for instance, even for a secured release, a patch might require backporting other pull requests not related to the patch itself, and we do that.
No, I see. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, I think that's it's okay for 18, then we can move on. And I know here in the looking at the minutes here. Oh, I'll stop sharing now, but like looking at the minutes, I think the next item is plans for NPM 10.
There
Yeah,
anything? Is there any reason to keep that on here? I mean, I thought we had dropped NPM 10.
yeah,
Have we dropped it into 18? I think we have.
we did. And,
Yeah.
and sorry, sorry, sorry.
No, that's what I was going to say. If we've dropped into 18, then NPM 10 is in Node. I mean, it's in all the supported lines of Node. When we're unlikely to back it out. So I think as far as the npm 10 question is, it's now done. I mean, we can continue. Well, I'm not recommending we can wait. The discussions can continue about future versions of npm into future versions of Node, but in terms of this particular one around npm 10, I believe it's all been done. I don't know if there's anything left to discuss.
One thing that we have discussed before the meeting started is what are our thoughts about this kind of upgrade, like Semver major release of npm into a LTS release line on Node.js. And I said that I don't agree on that, and we should do something to guarantee or to state that we won't break our schedule or general rule of Semver major into a LTS line. And I suggested to create an issue, but I also said that I won't create the issue unless I have other folks that have the same thoughts, because I don't want to jump into a discussion where I will be the only one raising concerns and so on.
So what I would say is, I believe your concerns are shared. There's a number of people that both currently in the release group and formerly in the release group who share your concerns. We do have a problem, which is that the npm team do not have a release policy that is in line with Node's LTS policy, and that is a thing we've not really managed to square. And what we've ended up with is some sort of concessions from npm to try and get as much sort of testing on their releases. And we have had, and Roy knows more about this than I do, we have had things taken out of npm Semver majors which were more breaking. We've delayed them into future Semver majors because we basically told the npm team, well, no, that's too breaking for LTS users of Node, so if you go ahead with that, then we will block that version of npm from dropping into the LTS version. The main problem we've got is npm support like one version of npm. They don't have long-term support versions of npm. So we drop a version of npm into an LTS version of Node, and then as far as npm is concerned, once one, I think it's about yearly cadence for a Semver major of npm. That they move on to the next Semver major. So at one point, they were trying to do sort of bare minimum security patches to older versions of npm, which Roy again was doing. I think was it npm 6? I think you were backporting or attempting to backport.
Yeah, well, 6 there was a lot, right? Like because it was up until Node 14, so like 6 ended up getting like many security releases. But
so yeah, I think that the point is the concerns are not new, but we still don't have a. What we've got at the moment is a sort of something we've kind of agreed on, which I think there are still sort of concerns on this side, but some of those have been addressed by the concessions that npm have made. I don't know how much more we can push because fundamentally npm is not under the control of the Node project. It's GitHub's that they control the npm schedules. So unless we really want to go through, we can keep having the discussions, but I think in terms of our options, we either have to sort of meet them, something like we're doing at the moment, or we're going to have to try and push further, and pushing further then sort of pushes into further discussions about between npm and Node in terms of the relationship between the two projects. So I don't want to dissuade you. I'm just saying that your concerns are not new concerns. They are concerns that we've had for a long time. And we are, I think it's come up. So I can't remember what version of Node, but the first time it came up where the proposal was to update npm in a LTS version of Node to a new npm Semver major, we were very reluctant to do that. And then we were told it was a one-off. And then the next year, the same thing happened. So, there's now there's now a fair reflection that they're no longer one-offs. I mean, this is what's going to happen. npm are going to release Semver majors possibly once every year. I mean, that's what they've been doing. They also don't line up nicely with our LTS transition dates. So I think they tend to happen around the transition date. And I think in some cases have been like the week or two after the LTS transition. And we've been asked to sort of pull versions of NPM that haven't been quite ready into LTS, which again has caused friction. So the friction's always been there. We've never really, what we've got now is better than what we had before. But there's always going to be this friction there. And then this is always going to be the case with dependencies that we pull into Node that either don't have long-term support strategies, or they don't have release strategies that fall into the model that we have. And the problem with NPM is it's so complex that I don't think it's viable for us to be floating patches, because I don't think anyone in the Node project has that expertise to be able to say, we'll take this, whatever ancient, well, I say ancient, but like old version of NPM and try and patch it to be compatible with the current registry. I can't see that being viable. Maybe for one or two dependencies in Node that is viable if they don't release often, that we can float occasional patches on top of LTS. But NPM is like huge. It's like ridiculously complicated, as Roy will probably attest to. That we can't easily maintain versions of that the team themselves are not maintaining. So if you want to if you want to continue the discussion, I think at least I'll be behind you in terms of the concerns, but in terms of I don't know what we'll end up changing, if anything. So anything you wanted to add to that, Roy, since you've been sort of involved in the past?
No, before the meeting, when we were discussing the idea, one thing I said to Rafael, like we could potentially do, was kind of like trying to draw a line in the sand, at least with regards of the better alignment of their schedule with our LTS schedule, right? Like, which is something kind of like I know it has been mentioned, but never committed to. So like that's one thing we can push for, right? Like, from more point of view. But that ultimately, like I forgot to mention, like the fact that NPM does not have a LTS schedule that aligns with ours, right? Like, does not solve the problem. Yeah.
One thing
Even
that
things, even things like we would prefer like some of the majors of NPM to drop on some of the major boundaries of Node, which obviously hasn't happened, which is the problem. But even like the LTS transitions, it's like it's not just the NPM team. Like, I've seen other collaborators almost treat the LTS transition as like trying to get things in which we wouldn't normally want in the transitions. It's like, if we've got, like, say, Node 22, we kind of want it stable by the time it goes to LTS transition. We don't want to dump a whole load of things in the week before, or 2 weeks before the LTS transition, because at that point we actually want the whole thing as a known state stable. So dropping things in last minute like that is very annoying. and again, the alignment of the dates. Well, okay, it's not great that we're dropping some of the majors of NPM into Node full stop, LTS full stop. But then, if we're planning to do it only a week or on the week of the transition, well, that's that's really frustrating, because it's sort of, we have a few releases where we try and stick to the schedule, like the December major release, where we say, right, it'll be this date in April, and we'll try and put the release out on that date. And the LTS transition is the other release that we've got, where we try and keep a fixed date in the calendar for it. And all the other releases are kind of, we're trying to have a schedule, but the schedule is a little bit more flexible. If it's delayed by a week, we're not too fussed. But December majors, the LTS transition, and I guess maybe the security releases, because we announced those ahead of time. Those are the releases that we kind of want to try and hit the dates that we kind of communicate widely, because it lets people then plan around those things. And especially for things like the LTS, we know, as a project and a release group, we know when these dates are, because we plan them years in advance. So if we could align npm to Node release schedules, however that alignment is, whether it's just slightly better or perfectly aligned, whatever that is. But I mean, we know the dates we would like to keep to. So, and I would hope that something like npm, they would be able to factor that into their planning. Or I don't know. We'll have to have the discussion because I don't know what their considerations are in terms of how they do their planning cycles. But if we could get better alignment of schedules and dates, I think that would help. It wouldn't solve everything, but I think it would be in a better position than it would reduce some of the friction.
Yeah, okay, we're running out of time here. I don't know if we'll be able to go past the hour here, but Rafael, yeah, I would encourage you to open the issue and like let the discussion happen, right? Like you don't need to be following it or be driving it, but like maybe that's a good place to start if you
I
want.
think that's the best moment to discuss, given to the recent discussions in the TSC, to discuss how don't laugh, Marco.
And maybe having a discussion outside of the pressures of dates. So in the past, every time this has come up, it's been we're about to cut a new release or the new LTS.
Right.
We can do it without the time pressures. Maybe that would lead to a more fruitful discussion rather than something which is where we're time boxed or pressured into trying to make a decision by a certain date.
Yeah, that's correct. Also, I believe that I don't know. We have discussed about a new release schedule proposal on the last Collab Summit. We have also identified that current release people don't use it, and actually they are not meant to be used. We only do that to make the development cycle better, I guess, right? That's the main of.
So I wasn't at the Collab Summit. I disagree slightly with some of the conclusions that were drawn. I think we definitely recommend LTS versions for people to use in production, but to say that we don't recommend current for usage is wrong. We recommend current for usage because we want people to be using current to test the new functionality. Now, the argument is that the downloads are much smaller for current than LTS, but I don't think you draw the immediate conclusion that because current is downloaded less than LTS, that nobody is using current. Because people are downloading current, we can see there are numbers. We might want more people to be using current or find a way to expose the new functionality in a way that doesn't risk people running production applications, which is the people that we kind of want to be using LTS. But yeah, I mean I think that's a big wider discussion that we're not going to finish in 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have time to discuss it now, but yeah, I think that we can at least refine a bit of that discussion before making a proposal to the NPM team, because if things might change, we don't need to have a discussion now.
Okay, that's a fair reflection.
I see. Okay, that's it. We have 2 minutes here. I don't think we have time to discuss any of the other items. But anyone wants to say anything about anything else from the agenda or anything else you want to mention before we close here?
Nope.
No, not for me.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you all for coming, and yeah, make sure to follow up and on the GitHub issues for the remainder of these conversations. All right, thank you all.